Hello and welcome back to the Misfits podcast, rated 5 stars on iTunes by Big Cock 26. He says, "This gay, nah, it's really good."
Yeah.
Thanks for that, Big Cock. Really great review there.
That's some
really glad that you
high-quality
left
stuff.
that there for us.
Here you go.
Yeah, the Misfits podcast, the only podcast less consistent than my YouTube channel. It's been like
Shit.
2 weeks.
fucking weeks.
Been about
I got
2 weeks.
It's been more. I mean, it's been more than 2 weeks. You know?
This
Just
re-
about three now, yeah.
Yeah, but by the time this goes up, it'll be 3 weeks, and my Twitter mentions, I don't know about you guys, are just filled with fucking words.
Dude, I stream every day. How the fuck do you think that is?
Where's
the fucking podcast?
Okay, so, all right, well, Swagger, you want to explain why the podcast has been on hold for a little bit?
I've been very, very high, and I've missed every single episode.
No. Okay, so I've been in, I mean, basically...
I don't know what you want me to say. I can't explain it.
Basically, I mean, I've been... So, Mason and Zuckles, Mason and Jay, they've been in LA, and I flew over there with them for about a 10-day period. We can't really even talk about why the fuck they're over there, but we were just over there together on business. I'm home, they're still there, which is why they're not in this episode. They'll hopefully be here next time, but they're not here. It's just the four of us. Yeah, that's pretty much it. We were in LA and we couldn't record it, and things just kind of got busy, and we were like, okay, fuck it, we'll just put it on hold and we'll bring it back later. So yeah, there you go. That's pretty much all there is to it. It's not that interesting.
Wow, great
It's not
story.
that interesting. We just don't
All
really
right,
care.
yeah. So that was the Misfits podcast, episode 3.
Thanks for listening.
Thank you guys for tuning in.
Have a
Just a quick
wonderful
checkup.
night.
Just a little
It's a quick
update episode
checkup.
for you guys. Yeah, no. Well, I mean,
But tell me a story about you in
yeah.
LA.
Well,
anything
yeah, LA
crazy?
was-
anything
LA was
anything a
fun.
little
LA was a good time. A little bit of craziness.
Legal weed?
I don't know how much I can say, but I'm just going to kind of skirt the line of caution here, and hopefully we'll reveal more later. But basically, weed is illegal in LA.
Weed is
Really?
legal.
It's great.
News to me.
It's very
Legal.
legal. Yeah, I mean,
never
you
read
can
that.
literally
Why?
you can get weed delivered to your house, and not just any weed, like weed that is better than any weed I've ever had in my life.
Oh,
Is it like Uber Eats for weed?
Yeah, it's called Weed Maps. Look, let me just be
Are
clear.
you kidding me?
Yeah, there's literally Weed Maps.
Oh my fucking
God,
God.
that's
That's
so
awesome.
So you get like this guy like pull up in a car that just smells like fucking dank kush. He's blasting like hip hop, and he hands you a bag. He's like, "Sup?" And you're like, "Thanks, dude." And then you go back into your house, and then you do edibles. All right, just to be
Yeah.
clear, everyone, I don't do any drugs when I'm at home. Okay, when I'm back in New Zealand, I'm a stone cold sober guy, except for a horrific drinking problem. All right, it's only when I'm on a trip with these boys that I get a little bit crazy with the marijuana. You know what I'm saying?
Marijuana.
If you know what I'm saying. So anyway, we're there. We're hanging out with a buddy there who knows a lot about weed and is very experienced with weed and has a lot of connections with weed. And we're like, hey, we want some edibles. We want to get fucked up tonight. Even though we just got off a 16-hour flight, this is probably a great idea and an opportune time to do edible marijuana. He's like, I got you, bro. I'll get you this 1,000 milligram marijuana brownie.
1,000?
Oh, goodbye.
Are you crazy?
Goodbye.
This brownie literally has... This brownie literally has a picture of like a dead guy on the back of the packaging. He's like, it's a picture of a guy like comaed out on his desk, like his drink is spilled over and he is just not breathing. He's limp. I don't know what it was called, but anyway, it's like a brownie. It's a big square. Obviously, 1,000 milligrams of THC is a lot of marijuana. You
metric
never want to
fuck.
do
Well,
that much.
To put that into perspective, last podcast I had 100 milligrams and I was in outer space, and Einat had 900, so he was still 100 below that brownie. Did you guys split that up?
Yeah, we split it up.
Or did you? Okay, good.
So yeah,
Good.
so like 100's a lot. Okay. Okay.
You're making me sweat.
Let me just rewind here real quick, okay? Because there's an even earlier weed story in this trip that I should cover before this. We'll get back to the 1,000 milligram brownie, okay? So me and Jay are from New Zealand, and the other people we were traveling with was Mason, aka Zuckles, who lives in Australia, Melbourne, and so does my manager, or all of our managers, Ryan and Sam, okay? So me and Jay fly to Melbourne together. It's a 4-hour flight. We arrive at my manager Ryan's house. Mason's there, Sam's there, the gang's all together. We've got a flight the next day, and we're going to LA. Big excitement, all right? We have like a little bit of weed that night, but just like a chill dose. We get some sleep. We wake up. It's 9 a.m. and we get to the airport. And obviously, we're going to do edible marijuana before our flight because it's a long flight. And edible marijuana is quite a good way to kind of knock yourself out.
That's what Ryan always seems to do.
Or freak the fuck out in a line.
Or freak the fuck out. Now, McCreamy, a.k.a. Jay, has never, even smoked weed. He's never touched this stuff. He's a very straight-edge kid. He's young. He's from a small town in New Zealand. Boy's never been to a party before as far as I'm concerned. So, he's a bit nervous, but we're kind of like, dude, just take, the littlest bit. It'll probably just make you feel real nice. He's like, all right, I'll do it.
Very nice.
Ryan... We cooked these brownies at Ryan's house, which they're homemade. We've got this little dropper of liquid THC, which we put in it. I think is how we did it.
Made with love.
So
just like Grandma used to make.
Exactly. And we take this this Tupperware container filled with homemade brownies, which you just open and it just smells dank as fuck. We go into the Melbourne airport. Weed is illegal in Melbourne, by the way. We go to the Melbourne airport and we check in and everything, and then we got to eat the brownies before we go through security. And we're kind of monkey-assing because there's a lot of people around and a lot of security. And as soon as you open the container, it stinks, dude. It smells you could tell it's weed. So we're like, okay, we got to find a quiet place to do this. We go into Nando's. We go way back into the very back corner of Nando's. We all look so scuffed because we haven't even showered this morning. We're all in these baggy clothes, ready for our flight. We haven't showered. Yeah. And we just fucking scoff down these homemade brownies. I reckon I had roughly 75 milligrams. Ryan, Zuckles, and Sam all had maybe 150, which is getting on the upper side of things. And Jay, I think maybe had 25 to 50. I was like, dude, just take it easy. You really don't want to,
right?
Yeah,
because if you never smoked before and you've never done weed. Then doing edibles is not a good initiating procedure.
I thought doing edibles would probably be better for your first time because then you don't mess up.
No.
Edibles are so strong. Yeah,
dude, when you eat edibles,
well, I mean, in very small amounts. I mean, it's not fucking take 100 your first time.
Because one thing is smoking a joint. You could take 1 or 2 puffs and immediately you're already high. You're like, okay, I can put it down now. But when you eat an edible, it's not even that you're getting high like you're smoking a joint. It's being processed by your liver.
Yeah.
Which turns THC into a completely different compound, which is 5 times more psychoactive. So you go bananas. That's why people freak out when they have edibles for the first time and have never smoked because they think they're dying. And it feels like you're dying, but you're not actually dying.
Yeah, so I was like, look, take it easy, Jay. Jay smoked a little bit. It was vape weed, the night before. Mm-hmm. So he was kind of that was his first experience with it, and he had a pretty good time, I think. He was just laughing at shit and...
got his toes wet.
Yeah, got his toes wet, and now it's edible day. So, he only had 25 to 50. That's a low dose. That's enough to make you feel I don't know. How would you describe a dosage as low as that? Just a little bit kind of...
Nice and comfy. Just sit in a couch, do nothing.
Comfy, cozy.
Just a body load. Yeah. You feel it in your body.
Like a warm, kind of fuzzy high, So that's good.
Amount.
I just keep in mind, we homemade these brownies with an eyedropper of THC. We don't know exactly where the brownie could be totally dead cold sober in one corner and totally fucked up in the other corner. I'm not sure how
that's the art.
Playing brownie minefield with fucking edibles.
Yeah. Exactly. Thankfully,
right-click, place
none of us. Thankfully, none of us got that fucked up. Anyway, we go through security. It's all good. We eat the brownies first of all. I dispose of the Tupperware container very anxiously. I cross through.
Well, there's no way you're taking that thing.
Yeah,
you're taking that thing.
So
on the flight.
I'm just imagine these fucking obvious stoners go into the corner of Nando's. They eat these brownies in the corner of Nando's without ordering any food from said Nando's. Then the tall fucking lanky guy picks up a Tupperware container, walks through a huge crowd of people. Security's on the left. There's actual security guards walking around and quickly puts it in a bin and then power walks away from the bin. That was pretty much how that went. So we get to security and we go to the lounge because Ryan's a gold member. So we got to have I was really keen on having a shower and getting in some fresh clothes before the flight. I was looking forward to just being cozy and just sleeping and enjoying myself. So as I'm in the shower, the edibles are starting to kick in and I'm I realize I'm real high. I'm real high at this point. So we're all in this first class lounge. I think it was actually a Emirates lounge. It was one of the Middle Eastern airline lounges. I'm not sure which one, but a really fancy lounge. And we all look scuffed as fuck. We should not be in this lounge. and I was like eating the Danishes off the counter. It was like, oh yeah, fucking.
Wait, like straight off the counter, just like off the counter in your mouth. You didn't even like get a plate, like take it back somewhere.
Yeah,
just standing at the buffet bar,
hands behind your back,
like eating it like a dog.
My eyes were red as fuck as well. My eyes got real red. So it was pretty funny. I was aware that I looked tired, but I also didn't give a fuck because.
Well, that's the point. You got nothing on you. You just say, "I got pink eye in both eyes, and I'm tired, bitch."
And
Get out of my face.
I'm also just a really slow person in general. That's just who I am. Don't judge me.
Yeah.
But anyway, we get the flight, and it was actually like a really good flight. Like I slept. I looked back at Jay at one point, and he's like just fucking got his hoodie up, and he's smiling and watching fucking young Sheldon on the airplane. I'm like, nice. I'm like, you doing good over there, buddy? He's like, dude, I feel so cozy right now. I'm the coziest person.
Was he actually watching young Sheldon?
He was for a bit, but for the meme.
Okay, good.
And yeah, we were all in economy XL, which is basically like lots of leg room, lots of space, and the plane was empty. So a lot of the seats, like there were 3 in a row, so you could like lie down on them and shit. So that was real nice.
Is economy XL the rows with the doors?
No. So we were flying Virgin Australia. So economy XL is like a special like section that's like economy, but for people who are.
Didn't we get
I was going to say because. No, we got. I think it was economy X.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we were exit row.
Yeah. This is different. It's like a whole section. It's like in between economy and premium.
A bunch of guys whacked out on edibles probably wouldn't be that first choice to do the exit rows.
Yeah, like passing out life jackets and shit. No. It was great, dude. I had a great high on that plane. Like I was listening to music and like I could like feel the. Like instruments, like in like waveforms in my ears. It was amazing. Every time the bass hit, it was like, I can't explain it, but I was having like visuals in my head. It was sick, and I was eating like lollies and putting like lollies on my tongue, and they would just dissolve, and I would just feel the sugar particles like float through a galaxy in my brain. It's fucking sick. Like actually so sick.
That's awesome.
You were in outer space.
I was. Dude,
you were thinking on the microscopic level.
I was. Yeah, and it wasn't like an anxious high like you guys had on the last podcast. Like it was actually like a good
mine wasn't anxious until as soon as I got on the plane. I had the time of my life on the plane. It was Inut was making me anxious, fucking freaking out in his blanket and listening to Rihanna.
Dude, you joke about that, but that was such a good experience peeking, even though it was a shit meme song. It was so good just sitting there just buckled up with my headphones on. I was like, oh.
I'm glad it wasn't like bad for you, because that could have very easily turned super sour.
All right, so anyway, fucking that's pretty much all the stories for that flight. We get to LA, we go to the house we're staying at, and
back to the brownie.
It's the night like that we arrived. We've been awake for a long time. Like we had some food and shit. I was feeling strange. I had like a second wind where I felt like I was going to collapse in the middle of the day of exhaustion. Then I got a second wind, and all of a sudden I was like, "Yeah, let's get fucked up tonight, boys. Let's get fucking fucked up." And everyone's kind of vibing with that. I'm like, "Yeah, let's do it." Jay is like not keen. McCreamy, he's like, "I got to go to bed." I'm like, "Totally get it, dude. Like, you probably don't want to do edibles twice in a row, especially after a flight like that. Not a good idea." So Jay goes to bed. I think at least.
Good man.
So it's me, Mason, Ryan, and Sam, and yeah, it's actually just us at this point. We've got this fucking 1,000-gram THC brownie. We've also got like joints, which are like wrapped in wax, like the real fucking good weed. So we're like smoking that to start with, and we're kind of getting like the smoking high. And then fucking we're like, let's dig into this brownie. I break off like a small corner of it. I eat it. Mason takes a bigger corner because he's a fucking retard. He eats it, and Ryan and Sam.
Surprised you didn't eat the whole fucking thing.
Dude, I'm like so glad he didn't, because honestly, I think we'd lose him. I think we would have lost him. He'd never return to his body.
He would have died. Astral projected and just can't float back into his husk.
Yeah. Not only that, we also had these other lollies, which were like a side thing, which also had THC in them. So I had one of those. So
those are called like Molly Pops, right?
I don't know. No, these were like a chewy, like I don't know what they were called. They were like a chewy, like little biscuity kind of thing, like almost like a Starburst, but for weed.
They fuck you up.
Yes, they did. Right. They did. So I think if I had to guess, I would say I probably had like 500 milligrams.
Fuck.
In between 400 and 500.
Damn it.
Mason had about the same as me, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Mason had about the same as me. Ryan and Sam, I'm not sure, but they were on a very similar level. But I don't think anyone had more than that. So that's at least, some comfort in that. It starts out great. We're having a real good time. There's a spa pool at this house. We get in the spa. Like, I'm just like, I'm so fucking high, dude, but this is actually fucking great. I'm like in the spa, like there's jets and shit. I'm like, yes, dude, I'm in LA with the boys and I'm fucking toasty boys. So I'm just kind of vibing and shit.
Toasty boys.
Then I'm like, okay, I took a second edible and it's going to kick in and I'm going to be absolutely wrecked. So I need to get out of the spa before it's impossible. So I get out of the spa. I go down like to my room, which is like 2-story. This is a 4-story house, by the way. So I go down like, actually, I'm like on the first floor. So I go down 3 floors of stairs, which is a bit of a challenge. You know what I'm saying? Like a bit of a scary challenge. I make it down to my room. I have a shower and I'm like feeling very, very, very toasty at this point. Like I really just need to lie down and just experience this and ride it out. So I go down to the cinema room on the bottom floor, which is a space where like a theater room and it's like cozy and there's like really comfortable couches.
I can only imagine walking around a place like that stoned.
Dude.
And not be bewildered.
I was.
And not just be like, what the fuck is going on?
I was. As soon as I went downstairs and left the group, I started getting kind of anxious and I was like, okay, I need to chill out. The shower was scary. It was a bit of a scary shower, but I made it through, dried myself off, got in some comfy clothes and went down to the first floor, like the ground floor, which was the cinema room. And this is just a place with big comfy couches. It's like a small kind of cozy room. I'm like, this is where I'm going to be tonight. This is fucking great. So I like lie down.
Could watch Young Sheldon on that.
I've got these 2 massive packs of lollies next to me, and I'm just putting them on my tongue and just feeling them dissolve. And like it's the same thing again,
right?
No. Regular candy. They were like fucking fish. I don't know what you call them in America. They're like lolly fish.
Like Swedish fish? Are they?
Yeah,
They're
Swedish
red?
fish. So so I put it on my tongue, and it's the same on the fly. I feel them like dissolve, and like I'm like going on a journey with these sugar molecules like through my consciousness, and it's fucking just so great. It's so great. Like it was really just like I felt like my tongue was like a hot pool of lava, and I put the fish in it, and it immediately melts, and then I just ride the sugar. I follow it through like how it's affecting
the
my
only
body.
The only reason I'm laughing so hard at this is because I've felt this feeling so deeply. I've gone exactly through what you went through multiple times.
I must look like a retard. I also had a Bluetooth speaker next to me and I was just playing like old school rock that I used to listen to when I was like 8 to 9, like Kings of Leon, Blink 182, like and I was like, this is fucking sick. And then I must have been there for about an hour or 2 without realizing, and then very quickly, like I'm out of Swedish fish, and I'm starting to get kind of paranoid about where everyone else is because the house is super quiet, and I'm like, okay, fuck, I'm 4 stories down. They're probably on the very top floor. I need to find my way upstairs. Okay, so I'm like, okay, I gotta get up. So I make myself get up. And man, I can't explain how difficult it was to walk out of that room. Like it was really quite a mission. I'm like,
did you feel like your skin grew roots and sunk into the couch?
Kind of, yeah. Like it really felt like I was tied to the couch. I got up though. There's an elevator in this house, thankfully, but the elevator is a terrifying little place to be. So I get in the elevator and I press the button, and the door closes, and I just hear this clunk. And I'm like feeling myself going up. I'm like, oh no, please, like imagine if I fucking died in this elevator. How fucking bad would that be? How bad would that be? Please. I get to the top, like the elevator is kind of old, so when it gets to the top, it kind of goes up and then down real quick, like a bit of a clunk. So like that happens, and I kind of like I lose my footing. I'm like fuck, and then the door opens, and I'm like, okay, thank God, I'm here. I walk outside of the elevator. Here's what I see. Let me describe this so you perfectly understand it, okay? Above the elevator, there's a LED strip of like rainbow RGB lights that kind of follow the top of the roof. So the whole, and it's like glowing, it's going boom, all these different colors. So the whole room was kind of like this rainbow transformation of like LEDs. Okay. I look to my left, and there's a couch there with a TV in front of it. And then there's like these windows, these glass windows that look out over LA, and it's just the best fucking view. Mason is stood there in front of one of the windows in his boxers, nothing but his boxer briefs, his hands up by like his chest like a T-Rex, and he's just kind of pacing around in a circle going, this is fucked. Okay, I'm like, classic Mason, I'm gonna be all right. Then I look another person to my left, and this is where the couch, there's like a shoehorn shaped like kind of couch area, like a square shoehorn of like really comfy couches in front of the TV. Manager Ryan is sitting there holding something in his lap and just not looking too great. Just not looking too great at all.
Not looking good.
And then Sam is on the couch as well, and he is just like, Sam's a kind of like, he's just like a small kind of person, and he's just looking like a little kid, just fucking sitting there like, this is absolutely fucked. We should not have taken this many edibles. Okay? Then Ryan throws up into what he was holding, which turns out what he was holding was like a glass bowl of like really shit nachos that he tried to make, because Ryan's a big boy and he's a hungry boy, and when he gets high he likes to make nachos, and it's not like real nachos, it's just fucking cheese and corn chips. But they didn't last very long because he ended up just sitting there with the bowl and throwing up into it. He's like, ah! He fucking like really is going ham into this bowl. Like, and I'm like, oh no, fuck, why did I come up here? This is really fucking with me. I can't be up here. Mason's just gawking at him like, what the fuck, Ryan? Are you gonna die? I'm like, shit, all right, this is what we're doing tonight. This is how it's going. I like make my way over to the couch. I get into like this little corner of the couch and just curl up in the fetal position. Ryan is like a few seats away from me, just like rocking back and forth and just like kind of like breathing heavily over this bowl of concoction of nachos and throw up. And then he just keeps throwing up into the bowl. He's going, and I glance at him, and I kid you not, it could have been the edibles, but it looked like he was just vomiting out like soft serve ice cream into this bowl. Like it really looked like that. Like it was a constant stream. And I'm just like, okay, everyone is absolutely fucked up, including myself. I need to be the rock that like tethers us together, or else we're going to literally die tonight. So I can't start saying shit. And I'm like literally rocking in the fetal position. I'm like, guys, this is really fucked up, but like we're going to be okay. Like we're going to be absolutely fine. Mason's still pacing in his underwear, and he's like, no, dude, we're fucked, dude. We're going to fucking die. He actually thinks this, by the way. Like Mason's a very anxious person about dying and shit. He's like a hypochondriac. He actually believes he's going to die. And like, I'm going to be honest, it was not looking good. I was in the back of my mind low-key being like, yeah, we could definitely die tonight. This is not great right now. So and
Isn't
Ryan
that
keeps
funny what edibles can fucking do to you?
Dude,
It can convince you that you can fucking die.
Yeah,
man, like, if there's anything that's going to deter the audience from like getting too fucked up on marijuana, it's this. Like, you can have a great time on edibles, but you got to be fucking careful with that dosage, man. You really got to be careful.
Well, the funny thing either way is like when I've had too much edibles or when I get too baked. Oh my god! I'll go with an anecdote. I picked up weed from my friend who I haven't seen in 3 months. I picked up weed from him. I brought it back home, and I decided, like, I'll smoke a bowl. I'll smoke a bowl to myself. That's no big deal. And I smoked the whole thing to myself, and I completely underestimated how fucking fire the shit was.
Yeah.
I walk back, I put my pipe away, I put my grinder away, and I come over to my desk. Not even 5 feet. And by the time I get to my desk and sit down, I'm fucking fried out of my mind. And I'm there and I'm looking at my computer like, what do I do? What do I do? I'm like, I'm going to watch Vsauce videos. So I started watching Vsauce video. I got halfway through the one about atomic bombs before I started having a panic attack and thinking I was going to die in an atomic like explosion. And I got so scared of like of the concept of a nuclear bomb, and I freaked myself out to the point where like I couldn't breathe, and like my heart rate was going super fast, and I was like, okay, I'm either dying or I'm really high. There's a good chance it could be the former. And so I was like, okay. So I unlocked my door, so that way it's not locked. So if I do die, my dad could walk in and recover my body.
Oh my God. Morbid preparations there.
Oh, yeah, dude, I was baked. I was, like, preparing for death in my room, cracked out of my mind on weed. And I go over to my bed, and I just go, I'm going to lie down, and I'm just going to die. And I went on Spotify, and I put on the sleep playlist. And I just listened to the sleep playlist like this is gonna be the music I die to tonight.
Oh my God.
And then I got bored of it, and then I started playing Drake, and then I started playing the music that I actually like. And by the time I got through like halfway through like the MGMT album I was listening to, I was like, Yeah. I don't think I'm going to die anymore. I think I'm pretty good. I got back up and started watching Vsauce videos again.
I listened to MGMT in like the good part of my edibles high on that night. I was listening to like When You Die.
Yeah,
that song. That song was sick.
Yeah, that song bangs.
Did you watch the music video? Did you watch the music video?
No, fuck that, dude. Fuck that.
You gotta watch the music video. You gotta watch it.
It's so good.
Dude, I actually think that if I put that video on in the cinema room on that big screen, I actually would have died. I actually would have just had a panic attack and died. But.
Your context for people that don't know what we're talking about. This is a music video for a song by MGMT Management called When You Die. And the music video is very, very trippy and very, very cool. Mm-hmm. It's super psychedelic. And
basically, it's like a bunch of like skin like turning inside out
it's
and
like
stuff.
The Google
and
Deep Dream or whatever you said that they used to make it or whatever.
Yeah, they
so
use
really...
Google Deep Dream algorithms to do it. It's very good. They got the aesthetics of psychedelics down to the T in that video, and it is just super trippy to watch on edibles or even high. But in college, I'd have friends that come over on fucking LSD and be like, yo, can we watch the music video, the MGMT music video? I'd be like, yeah, sure. I put it on, and they just fucking have their eyes wide open and their mouth just fucking hung down looking at the screen and just be like, oh, my God, dude, it's so like, this is me right now. This is me, man. Yeah. And I'd be like, yeah, want to go in VR? And they'd be like, hell yeah. And then I put them in the VR thing, and then they stay there for like an hour until I come and get them.
Yeah, I've never done psychedelics, but that's how I imagine acid feels, that music video. Or how an experience like 100% could easily go on acid. Yeah. Anyway,
acid, don't fuck with acid.
Oh yeah.
Don't fuck with psychedelics. If you are listening, just stick to weed. All right?
If you're over 18,
should be the upper echelon. If you're over 18, obviously,
you got to be really sure you want to do psychedelics and make sure you're in a very safe, both a safe state of mind and that you have like a trip sitter or whatever.
It's a whole process to do.
I'm the best. I am the best trip sitter in the fucking world. All right. If anybody ever does any psychedelics in our group, let me know. I will make you have the time of your life. I will transform your entire life through all the shit that I can do.
I'd be too paranoid that you'd be trying to do like a bit and trying to fuck with me though if I were to do that.
No. Because Swagger always says he's very careful
I'm not
about
retarded.
That.
I'm not I'll fuck with you if you're on edibles or you're high. If Mason's baked, I'll be like, dude, you're having a heart attack. You're dying. It's just to fuck with him because he's not going to die. You can't scare someone into a heart attack unless they have a heart condition and they're smoking weed. Yeah. But if you're on a psychedelic, you're like a baby. You're in a very fragile mental state. And you're not like a baby in the sense that you're an infant where I could pick you up and go, hey, you stupid fucking little bitch, and then put you down. You won't remember.
What?
It's like you're a baby in the sense that you're super super
vulnerable.
Vulnerable. You're easily manipulated and influenced, and there's a lot of tricks to get people out of like thought loops and shit. Mm-hmm. I remember I had my one roommate. He dropped 2 tabs of LSD, and I didn't know. And I go back into my college dorm from a class, and he's sitting in his bed, and he's just going. And breathing and I'm just doing work on my laptop with my fucking headphones in and I fucking pop my headphone up and I'm like, hey dude, are you all right? It's like, yeah, dude, I'm fine. Fucking leave me alone. I'm like, okay. Put my headphones back and I'm just clicking away and then I just hear and I'm like, hey, are you okay? Like, are you are you good? Like, what are you on something? He's like, dude, I'm fine. Just leave me alone. He's got like, his fight. He's screaming at me underneath his blankets, and I'm like, all right, okay. So he just, I put my headphones back and I'm typing again, and he's just making the same fucking noises. And he's like groaning. And I'm like, okay, maybe he had a fucking bad burrito or something. And so I'm just fucking doing my thing. Yeah, I'm just fucking.
At this point, you must know he's high.
Well, I had no fucking idea. You want to know when I knew he was high? When I was in the middle of typing, just about to finish my essay, and he goes, "Oh, I did it! And I was like, what? What'd you do? He goes, I learned how to breathe. I was like, you what? He's like, I learned how to breathe, man. I learned how to. I'm like, are you on something? Are you okay? He's like, oh yeah, I took 2 tabs of acid. I'm like, why didn't you let me fucking know that? I'm like, why didn't you let me know? He's like, do you want to go on a walk? I'm like, it's fucking pouring rain out and it's like 30 degrees outside. He's like, yeah. And I'm like, okay. So he's fucking got my jacket on. I got soaked outside. It was fun, but dude, like the places that your mind will go on LSD or on like psychedelics. He took fucking shrooms. He took like an eighth of shrooms to himself once in the dorm room. Fucking I was editing a video and he just sits down on the floor next to my chair and I'm looking at him and he's just looking up at me with like the most inquisitive expression I've ever seen, just like pure like confusion. And I look down on him and I go, hey man, you all right? And he goes, yeah, I'm okay. And then as soon as he says that, he tucks his head into his shirt, like the hole that goes around his neck. He fucking tucks his head in there, and he just goes, holy shit, dude. And I go, what? He goes, I'm a fucking cube right now. He's like, I'm not even fucking kidding, dude. I'm a cube. I'm a fucking cube. And I go, dude, look at me. And he puts his head out of his shirt and he looks at me, and I go, like, what are you talking about? And he's like, oh, well, I'm not a cube anymore. Like, it's like I'm here, just like talking to you. Like I'm just, it's like and I go, well, do it again. And he goes, what, like be a cube? I was like, yeah. He goes, okay. And he fucking puts his head in his shirt and he goes, oh my God, it's happening again. Like that. And
then you whip out your pickaxe.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mine him for diamonds.
And you put him in the furnace.
Oh, yeah. You get him extra
that. Imagine being on DMT and thinking that you're Minecraft coal, and then someone mines you, and you go inside of a furnace, and then you come out of the furnace.
No, you're thinking of salvia.
Salvia. That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah. DMT's if you want to see the machine elves and learn that reality is nothing but a trip in and of itself.
You want to know something funny?
And that nothing's real.
When I was a kid, I went to a few sleepover parties. I know I'm a wild card. So I'm going to these sleepover parties with my friends, and we don't get any sleep that night. And I'm the kind of person that really needs sleep, or it fucks me up. So if I stay up for like a very long period of time, like 36 hours, this is like a fucking true story. So I'm back. My mom's picking me up from the sleepover. I'm in the car with her, and I start having what I can only describe as like it felt like a psychedelic experience, and I felt like, fuck, how do I describe this? I feel like
can totally do that.
I literally felt like I discovered the true purpose of life and the end of the universe. And I had this imagery in my mind of space and solar systems and like this arc that was time. I can't explain this without sounding like a fucking crazy person. But as I was having this,
how it is for any
dream,
drug-induced trip.
And I was having this dream with my eyes open, and I start clawing at my face and my skin and stuff. And my mom was like really concerned. She's like, "What the fuck are you doing? Like, what's going on? Like, are you okay? Are you feeling okay?" I'm like clawing at myself, and I'm like making noises and shit like a wounded animal.
Oh my God.
But in my mind, I'm having this really psychedelic experience. I didn't take any drugs. I was just fucking sleep deprived. And I'm telling you, like, if I ever do like DMT or something like that, I just part of me just knows that I'm gonna go back to that fucking place that I accessed when I was sleep deprived. I know that sounds crazy.
DMT is nothing like that, or salvia is nothing like that either. You probably go to something like that on fucking acid or another psychedelic. But
yeah, we were watching videos of people doing DMT at the house when we were in LA, and some of the things they described were similar to what I experienced.
It's pretty uneventful. People just fucking, and then they fucking go to sleep for like 15 minutes, and then they wake up and they go, they told me, the people told me that if I want to see them again, I have to die. I have to die if I want to see them again.
No, but legit, I'm talking about like an experience like that, on that level of like, I feel like I broke through consciousness.
Oh, yeah.
Like really
like
that.
Needing drugs.
Like the words I was using to describe it were only like, I cannot even like describe exactly the imagery that I experienced or what it felt like, but it felt like I broke through.
That's something like you can get on a high dose, a really high dose of psychedelics. But Obviously, if you're taking them, you're not going to do 2 tabs or 3 or 5. You're probably going to do half a tab to start with, and then a tab after, and then do tabs one at a time until you're comfortable moving to the next step and you're acquainted with kind of the increment.
Right.
That 1 tab is, because 1 tab is completely different from 2, just like how 2 grams, or how like a gram of psilocybin is like completely different from fucking 5.
Math.
It's just math.
Anyway,
it's a fundamental makeup of our universe.
Basically, ever since that day, I've been a sleep deprivation addict, and I'm still recovering. I constantly deprive myself of sleep to get back into that place. Maybe one of these days I'll finally break through and I'll stay in that wonderful place forever. Moving on to my regular story that I was telling before about, that was a joke, by the way. I don't actually deprive myself of sleep to have a psychedelic experience.
Well, of course not, because then you'd fucking, because then how are you going to have your drinking problem?
You're right. Like, you gotta, balance your problems.
You gotta balance your drinking problem with your drug habits.
Yeah. So anyway, back to the LA story. Ryan throwing up in the bowl, me in fetal position in the corner of the couch, Mason wandering around in his underwear, and Sam looking like a kid, who's only just taken in the world for the first time. So Mason's pacing around and genuinely wringing his hands in extreme anxiety that he's going to die. In his underwear. I don't know why he took off all his clothes, but he's in his underwear. He wasn't even in the spa pool with us. He has no excuse to be naked. He's in his underwear.
He's one of those people that will look for any excuse to get naked, I swear.
The whole time.
No, he only gets naked when he's fucked up. When he gets fucked up, he just takes all his clothes off.
Yeah, he does. The whole time that this is happening, these LED strips on the ceiling are glowing in a passive fade of rainbow colors. And Mason eventually sits down next to me. I've got my back to him and I'm looking at the back of the couch because I'm trying to anchor myself to the world so I don't fucking die, and so I can keep everyone's spirits up. I'm just constantly saying things like, we're going to be absolutely fine, guys. This is just really fucked up, but after this, we're going to be absolutely fine. I was acknowledging how fucked up it was, but I was also saying I know I'm going to be okay, kind of thing, which I did know somewhere deep down, but a very more primal part of me was saying, this is very, very bad. Mason starts tapping me on the shoulder and saying funny shit to me. And at one, I can't remember what he said, but at one point he says something that I just thought was so funny, that a cascade of kaleidoscope colors faded through my mind in an arcing rainbow fashion. And as that was happening, I rolled my body onto the floor and I was laughing the whole time. I was going that's so fucking funny. I was really laughing really hard. But as I was rolling and going into a position where my knees were on the floor and my face was in the seat of the couch, out of laughter, this kaleidoscope of rainbow colors was guiding me as I was doing that. It was the visual representation of humor and laughter. And I was holy shit, this is really fucking something else. And then as soon as I got on the ground and my face was in the seat of the couch, it immediately got cut off someone turned off a tap, and I was back into this fucking depressing dystopian world where Ryan's thrown up into a bowl of nachos and we're all absolutely fucked up and it's really dark. This night was you know how in movies The Hangover, there's a period of time where everything's going great and everyone's having a lot of fun and the music's going and they're drinking or whatever, and then there's a hard cut with a boom, and then all of a sudden everyone's fucked up and there's no music and everything's really oh shit. That was what this evening felt like. It felt like that transition.
Shit.
Yeah. So anyway, basically we're all just sitting there. Ryan's still throwing up. He must have thrown up into this bowl 30 times, and that's not an exaggeration. He really was throwing up a lot, which was very concerning. Mason eventually is yeah, I think I gotta just go to bed or I'm gonna fucking die. I'm yeah, you should go to bed, buddy. That's a really good idea. Bed sounds real good right now. I'm talking real fast. And he's okay. And he waddles off in his underpants, and I don't see him again for the entire night. And he got back to his room, but he's gone. Then it's Sam gets up and he goes to the bathroom on the top floor and starts throwing up. And Ryan doesn't even know that he left. And Ryan looks to his left and he's Fitz? I'm yeah, buddy. He's where'd Sam go? I'm he just went to go to the bathroom. He's Sam! He calls out to him. Sam doesn't fucking reply. Sam is dead quiet. And apparently time was moving at a weird rate here, because apparently an hour had passed and Sam had gone to the bathroom for 30 minutes and kind of thrown up and stuff. And then he actually went to bed. But for me and Ryan, it felt like he was gone for 2 seconds. I felt he just left to go to the bathroom. So we're kind of oh shit, this is fucking, we hope Sam's not dead. Hopefully Sam is fucking okay. But I'm sure that he's fine. Like in the back of my mind, I'm like, okay, I'm sure he's fine. Now it's my turn to go to sleep. I'm like, I should probably stay here and babysit Ryan, but I just need to go to bed right now, or I'm gonna really lose my shit. So I'm like working up the courage to go down the stairs again because I don't trust the elevator. So I'm like working up the courage to go down the stairs again. I'm like, okay, Ryan, buddy. He's like, yeah. I'm like, I'm gonna have to leave you here, man. I gotta go to sleep, or I'm just gonna fucking die. He's like, yeah, I understand. Like, I'll be all right, because he's kind of getting over his vomiting at this point. So he in my mind, I'm like, okay. Like, this is worth the risk of Ryan dying. I just need to go to bed. That sounds really fucked up. But at the time, it was like, yeah, this is worth the risk, or else I'm also going to die. And it's better that, like, it was fucked up, man. It was really fucked up. I like stand up. I've got my hands on the walls. I'm like making my way down the staircase, which, by the way, has a huge hole in the middle, which just goes all the way down to the ground floor, which if you fall down, you're definitely
it's
dead.
like one of those, like, you look down the middle of it, you can see, like, straight down all the way to the bum floor. Oh, yes, those are falling.
Exactly like that.
Those.
Exactly. And it's like really like thin hand railing. And on the side of it, there's just a big glass window where you can see out into LA from. So I'm like making my way down. I like somehow convince myself to brush my teeth, because even when I'm fucked up, like, I'm remarkably responsible about my hygiene. I take off my clothes, I get into my bed, and I just feel like I'm on a ship rocking back and forth, and I go to sleep. Aww. And we wake up the next day and I'm still fucking high. And I was high like all of that day, just in bed. I was like, I could not leave my bed. I was like, please get me water. My throat is really dry. They get me some water. Everyone else is fine, because Ryan's fine because he threw up, and everyone else threw up. I didn't throw up at all, so I'm still like digesting the edibles. So that whole day, man, I was out of action. I was just like, it got, when it was in the evening, it was a more mild high, but still enough to make me feel kind of sick, and like I just didn't want to kind of leave my bed. So I ended up staying in bed for like a whole day and a bit. A whole like, fuck, man, it was probably like almost 30 hours in bed. Right at the beginning of our trip in LA.
What did I start off?
And needless to say, I didn't do. Oh no, I did do edibles again. Yeah, I did do edibles again, but it was like a very small amount. Yep. But I didn't do them for like 4 days. I promise. Yeah, that's my. That's the main bad story from LA. There's a bunch of others, but we can't tell them right now.
Any other bad drug stories? Because we tell a lot of stories about drugs and shit on the podcast. But the thing is, we never really highlight any of the times where it actually goes kind of bad. Yeah. Like pretty bad.
Let's do Boston then, when we all got way too messed up there.
Well, what about
Toby,
PAX?
What about Toby? Tell your story at PAX.
Yeah.
Where you had a bad
that's a good
experience there.
example.
A bit of a scare there.
When we all first met each other, it was in PAX Australia.
Yeah.
And it was kind of just like, as soon as we landed there, it was like straight into, all right, we're doing stuff, we're hanging out, we're meeting each other. And then it was just constant, either we're at the convention or we're doing something for like the entire weekend. So it was just, we were all like super tired and super busy, like most of the time. And I remember we got to like an evening one night, and our manager comes up to us and he says to Fitz and I, he says, we got some industry parties to go to. If you want to, you got to come along. Are you guys like up for it? And I think Fitz was feeling like super tired or something. Yeah. So he says, look, I have to take Ritalin for my ADHD.
No. That's not what happened. No, I was very against Ritalin. I did not want to do Ritalin.
Yeah, I was getting to that.
Oh, I thought you were saying that I said I got to do Ritalin.
No. Okay, let me re-explain it then, just so it's clear. Ryan said to Fitz, do you want to try this? It will boost your energy up. And Fitz was very clear that he didn't want to.
Ryan's never going to get a job again after this podcast.
But me, coming from a family where 3 of the people in my family take Ritalin and I've never been able to take it, I was like, that sounds interesting.
Do you want to describe what Ritalin is
like?
For people who don't
Ritalin
know?
is basically, it's a drug that's used for people with ADHD that helps them focus and just like concentrate, basically.
It's an
prescription.
amphetamine.
It's a prescription drug.
It's a prescription
perfectly
drug.
legal.
Yeah. So I was like, can I try one? So I took one, although
I advised against this, by the way. I was like, no, like we're not doing Ritalin. Like it's a bad idea. Like I'll just write it out. Toby's like, I'm kind of curious. I'm like, don't fucking take Ritalin, dude. He's like, I'm gonna take a Ritalin. I was like, I'll take Ritalin. So I
took one, And then we went out to the parties, and nothing happened. It was fine. I just want to. I don't drink or anything, and I never smoke weed or anything either. But at this time, I was like, all right, We got back to Ryan's house, and everyone was kind of chilling and partying, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna have a tiny little bit of weed. So I had a little bit of weed, and also I had been drinking energy drinks all day.
Oof.
So I had shitloads of caffeine in my system. I had Ritalin in my system. So these two are uppers. And then I had weed, which weed's a downer, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then you drank, right?
No, I don't drink. But
No, you didn't drink?
No. And so I had the weed, which kind of brought me back down, right? And then I instantly just had this sort of, it was like my body was fighting itself, and I just could not get comfortable. And I was just like, I kept on wanting to be able to move into a different position, but I almost felt paralyzed and like couldn't move. So it was like that feeling of where you're like almost couch locked on like weed or something, and you want to move, but it takes like a lot of effort to actually get to that movement. I felt like that, but I was extremely uncomfortable in every position. So I kept on moving around the room, and there was shitloads of people in the room at this time. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I just fucking threw up. And then I was like, everyone was like, it was like, shit, fuck, get outside. So I like crawled out the fucking back door, like fell on the grass. Yeah, like commando crawl because I couldn't get up. And then I was just like lying on the ground there for a bit, and I was like, fuck, what's happening? And then I think after that, I just started having a panic attack. And I had never knowingly had a panic attack before, so I didn't know what it was like. And I was just lying there, and Fitz was beside me, and Ryan was beside me, and they were looking after me and everything.
Yeah, I was like holding your hand and shit. You were shaking. You were like,
I just started shaking. Just out of nowhere, I just started shaking uncontrollably, and I could not stop. And the bit that was scary to me was because I had never experienced this before, and I didn't know what it could be. I was like, is this leading to is this the beginning of what a seizure is like or something? Yeah. And I was just scared shitless. Like I was shaking, sitting there, and I just couldn't stop shaking the whole time.
He was really full body shaking, by the way. Like it almost looked like an epileptic seizure, how much he was shaking. Like it was really scary.
I felt bad because I was in the middle of telling his story.
Yeah,
and then
you
he
were.
Froze up, and I was like, I didn't think my story was that bad. I was like making jokes, and then Commando crawls out, and he's outside throwing up and shaking, and I go out to check on him. I'm like, oh, is he okay? Little bitch, little pussy, fucking can't hold his weed, haha. And then he's shaking, and I go, you could put some milk in his hand.
Swagger's like cracking jokes, and I'm like, I realized that, like, I'm like worried for my friend. I'm like, oh no.
Well, Fitz turns to me with a serious face. It's like, no, I think he's actually like having a problem. I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
are we gonna are we calling someone? What's the deal?
Probably the scariest moment of my life, to be honest. I was like just uncontrollably shaking in the backyard of my friend's house, and just didn't know what was happening. So like they asked me a couple times, so like, do you want me to call someone? Do you want me to call an ambulance? Do you need an ambulance? And I said no a few times, and then after a while, I didn't feel like it was ever going to stop. I was like, actually, maybe I should have an ambulance. So they called me a fucking ambulance, and to me, I think you guys said it was only like 15 minutes, but to me, it felt like I was on the ground for like an hour before I actually said,
I'd say it was 20 to 30. It was a long time.
Yeah, about 20 minutes, 25 minutes.
So to me, it felt like such a long time. But so they put me. Did they put me on a stretcher, or did they just like walk me to?
I think they walked you out.
So yeah, they like came out to the backyard where you were lying there, and like, we were all kind of like around you, like trying to comfort you. They're like asking a couple questions. You're like answering them. Yeah. They kind of realize, okay, it's nothing that serious. He's just having a bit of a panic attack, and he's on weed and shit. And like, I think we told them that you smoked weed, and because in Australia you don't go to fucking jail if you tell like the ambulance that shit.
Because if you do,
I even asked Ryan. I was like, oh, do we need to like clean up or whatever? And he's like, no, they don't give a shit. I was like, oh.
Yeah, because I looked at Ina, and I'm like, we have all this weed, and I'm like, dude, like if the ambulance is coming, we gotta hide this shit. We gotta hide everything.
Yeah,
and I'm freaking out.
The Americans just hop the fence, like, fuck, man, we're gonna get out of here. It's the fucking cops.
So for anyone who doesn't understand why this would be the case, the logic behind it is if they if you get in trouble for having drugs around when you call an ambulance, that means people won't call an ambulance when they OD. So the logic is, all right, let's just make it that we ignore it. And then that way people aren't going to fucking OD and then not do anything about it because they're scared they're going to get arrested. But anyway.
Plus weed in Australia is very relaxed anyway. Like, if a cop finds like a casual smoke sesh, you're not going to go to fucking prison for it. You might just get it confiscated at a warning. You know, like it's not that serious for weed.
Yeah.
Because
I'm sitting there on the couch. I'm sitting there on the couch with Ina. The fucking 2 EMTs come in, and this other guy is just ripping a bong, and they're fucking looking at us. Was it Peckett? I'm pretty sure it was Peckett that was still smoking or something.
That's so funny.
The fucking EMTs come in, and he just fucking waves at him, and they're just like, "Oh, you boys look like you're having a fucking good night, eh? Yeah, all right, yeah. What's the problem going on here? They fucking go out back and like, all right, mate. What's your name? What's your name? Toby? Oh, all right, Toby. Yeah, come on up. Yeah, all right. How old are you? You know, they just ask you questions.
Yeah. And
so I'm sitting there like, oh, this isn't a problem. Okay, all the weed isn't a problem.
You start offering him some. Hey, you want a hit of this?
Yeah, want to rip?
No, mate. I gotta drive your mate back to the hospital,
mate. They stood you up and they walked you through the party, which was more of a gathering of just stoned cunts. Yeah, and I go with you, and Ryan goes out there as well, and they take you to the ambulance, which is parked outside, and there's like a stretcher in the ambulance, and you lie down there.
This was almost the scariest part, being in the ambulance.
Yeah,
because you're lying down on a stretcher in the back of an ambulance as it drives through traffic while uncontrollably shaking and just scared shitless. So you're being like, moved around by the momentum of the car. It was just freaky.
Yeah, me and Ryan went with you, right? Me and Ryan were in the ambulance with you.
I think Ryan came afterwards.
You
went with me.
Oh, it was just me, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I was like trying to comfort you. I'm like, oh, it's going to be all right, man. Like, we're good. I'm like trying to explain to you like what the car's doing so that you have like some awareness of your surroundings. I'm like, we're just at the red light right now. Okay, now we're going.
But we get to the hospital, right? And I'm like lying in this there's a couple people on stretchers, and we're like lying in this. Seems like almost a middle ground before they decide where they're going to take each person. And we're lying there for a little bit. I was desperate for water at this point. But I was later informed that the reason they didn't give me water was because there was a chance they might have needed to pump my stomach if it turned out that I had been like drinking lots of alcohol or something, but I hadn't.
Yeah.
And so I didn't know this. And I was like, dude, I am so unbelievably thirsty. And I just was desperate for a drink, but I thought they were assholes and not giving me water, but it turns out there was a reason. But after
fucking assholes, why aren't you giving me fucking water?
But after a while of just lying there, I think they just take me into the waiting room where we're with a bunch of like fucking hoodlums and junkies who just look like they're looking for a place to stay.
Addicts.
Yeah. And we were probably, I don't know how long we were in the waiting room.
A long time.
We were in there for a while, and it just got to the point where I was like, look, I feel like they're probably not actually going to do anything for me. I feel like they're just going to calm me down a little. I don't think there's anything actually that wrong. So I reckon we should just go home, and I should just go to bed, and I'll probably be okay. Because I had slightly calmed down a little bit at that point. I was still shaking a bit. I was still shaking a little bit, but it had calmed down a lot, I think.
What happened is that Ryan and me were there with him, and I was sat next to him, just like with my hand on your back, just like
sitting there
you were
falling
for like an hour. I was falling asleep sitting down. Like I had my phone out, and I kept falling asleep and dropping my phone on the ground because I was so exhausted. Because like, bear in mind, this was on the same night that we flew in. Like this is the same day. Like we were all fucking, a bit tired and from travel and whatnot. So I was like falling asleep. We were there for 40 minutes to an hour, and eventually, you just.
And it was an uncomfortable place to be as well because
we
of
were
all
just
the other
sitting
people
down
that were in there.
Chairs. Yeah, in a public place. So but eventually you stop shaking and you sort of realize, okay, like I'm gonna be all right. Like I don't think you can do anything for me. And like I think we just Ubered home or something.
Yeah, and then Ryan let us have his bed, and we slept all day the next day.
Slept all day, and then the next day you felt fine. We went to the convention center and we met a bunch of fans, and none of them knew that the night before Toby was
on the floor.
Yeah, but thinking back at it, I mean that was like a probably hour and a half, 2 hour panic attack.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, that's fucked.
I've heard that panic attacks like what I imagine a panic attack is like taking an edible of fear, where it's just like pure fear, and you're just afraid the whole time. You know, like your primal fear just kicks in.
So scary. I think it was. I think there was a whole. I think basically like I think that the drugs like started it, and then just all the fears of the weekend, like meeting all these people that I had never met before, and I'm not the most social person, and just all like blew up, and I was like, oh shit,
and obviously combined with the uppers and downers, like.
Yeah, exactly. That only would have enhanced.
Well, there's probably also like shame and anxiety. Like,
exactly.
Oh my god!
Like I just threw up in
I threw up in front of a bunch of people. Now
exactly.
I'm getting escorted out by EMTs in front of a bunch of people.
Yeah,
like this is not a good first impression. Like that will all fuck with you.
Yeah.
It will super fuck with you.
There were a lot of people there too. Like Chad, anything for views was there. Like B was there. Like a bunch of people we were just.
It was the first time we had met Bucks.
Bucks was there. True.
That's right.
Fuck. Yeah, a lot of people were there.
Even now, just talking about it, I have like such an uncomfortable feeling in my chest.
Well, it's like pooping your pants in like the 6th grade. You know, it's just
quite
like you
that.
think it. Well, it's similar. It's one of those things that you look back on and you go, "Ooh, yikes!"
Trust me, I shit my pants every day in the 6th grade. I feel great. Right, that's absolutely fine. No, but I mean, this is just because we're going to be talking about probably drugs a little bit on this podcast. Because we're pretty open about it, and we're all okay with weed. Like weed is legal many places now, and I believe it should be legal. Everywhere.
I don't even smoke it, and I think it should be legal everywhere.
I'd say give it like 5 or 10 years at this rate.
Yeah, but this is just these stories, if anything, just kind of prove that.
Well, to show you the two sides of the coin. That, doing drugs isn't always like, I got fucked up with my friends and now I'm high. It's like, oh my god, I think I'm fucking dying. It's like I'm going down a fucking toilet right now. Oh shit.
And obviously, most of it's all in your head when it comes to weed, and you're not really putting yourself in any danger. But it's not a pleasant experience, and no one wants to have an experience like that. So
that's the thing. On a high doses of THC or crossing drugs. Like like if you fucking flip drugs, or if you're on a huge dose of edibles, like you could put yourself in a psychosis. You could fuck up your body if you have a heart condition. It could be you could actually have a risk, and you could have a severe medical problem, and you could have a very adverse reaction to this stuff. So, don't listen to the podcast and be like, I want to be just like Fitz, Inotorious, John on the radio, and Swaggersouls, and do a lot of drugs and nothing with my life.
I want to go to a Polish strip club and get my dick sucked. Yeah.
But yeah, that's like, it's one of those things you got to like look at, because we really don't tell like the bad stories, or like the stuff where shit goes wrong, or when it's terrible, because those aren't really usually as entertaining. And in most cases, they're gross, like throwing up into a bowl of nachos for 30 minutes.
It was pretty gross, but that story was pretty funny. You got to admit, it was pretty funny. Like,
it's fucking. Well, that's
just the whole scene is great. Zuckles in his underwear, Ryan throwing up a bowl of nachos,
pacing back and forth.
Oh my god, you have no idea.
His hands together.
I wish I filmed some of it. I did film something the next day of when I was in bed still, and like everyone else was sober. Mason comes in that night with a bottle of beer in his hand. He's got his shirt like unbuttoned. I'll probably post this on Twitter because it's funny. I'm in bed, like still kind of a little bit anxious and a little bit high. He opens up my door, bottle of beer in his hand, looking like an abusive stepdad, and just the meanest look on his face, and his wallet's towards me, like very slowly, making eye contact with me the whole time. And I'm just in bed. I whip out my phone, I start filming him. I'm like, no, stop. And he's like walking towards me real slow, giving me this evil look like he's going to beat my ass. And then he gets right next to me and he puts his beer bottle down the table, and then he just fucking bursts out laughing. It was really funny. It was a good time.
Yeah.
But yeah,
moral of the story is don't do drugs unless you're experienced.
Yep. Yeah, I like how we turned these two like fucking stoner stories into like a crusade against safe drug usage. Even though we're fucking complete retards. You know what's going to happen? We're going to, at the next convention we're going to go to, the fans we meet are going to be like, yo, you guys got fucked up last night, didn't you? And we're like, no, we did not get fucked up last night.
Just fucking slurring our words with our eyes completely fucking red.
You can see it in the photos of me at PAX East and all the fan photos people took of me, because I was hungover like completely from the night before. from all that, and I had
You took dab pen rips before going to the fucking convention, and you asked me if I wanted them, and I go, dude, if I take that, my eyes are gonna be red. And you're like, so you're wearing a mask, and I'm like, yeah, but the only thing people see are my eyes.
It fits
it's
in
the
your
only
character.
thing they
It's
can
fun.
look at. It does fit my character, but still, I don't want to be high meeting fans, especially if they're young. I just think that's one of those things where it's like, it would just make me uncomfortable. So that's why I decided to get fucked up after the fact.
I love this friend group because when I'm at home, I live like a very quiet, responsible, reasonable life where like I have a schedule. I go to bed at an early hour, and I wake up early.
Pay your taxes.
Do my work. I pay my taxes. I sleep with my wife in missionary style. I live a very like suburban lifestyle. But then every couple months, I go to fucking America, or I go to Australia, or wherever,
or Europe, or wherever the fuck,
wherever the Misfits take me, and I get absolutely fucked up, and then I go back home to my quiet lifestyle, and I'm like, yeah, that was a great like way to get that out of my system. That was awesome. Now I can get back to work. It's I love that.
It's cathartic.
It is. It's great. It's like therapy, except I'm fucking having like an existential crisis every time. It's fucking great. Yeah. Safe
all right.
drugs. Okay. Well, I mean, are we gonna call it here? It's been like an hour. Like fucking.
We're about an hour in.
You got anything else to talk about, Matt? You got any fucking any stories?
I got another story actually. Like the first time I had a bad experience with weed. I mean, I can tell that.
Oh, dude, sounds good. All right, thanks for listening, guys.
Okay.
We've been the Misfits. We'll see. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Well, this was actually during the first time I actually smoked before. I was at my friend's house in Boston, like literally right next to where we went for like PAX East, anyways. So I was at his house, like, okay, we're going to finally get you to smoke weed. I was like, okay. So the first night I finally smoked for the first time. That was great. And then the second night.
He popped his green cherry.
Yeah, finally.
Green cherry.
And then I tried in when we were at like PAX Australia, but like I didn't smoke enough. Apparently, there's a thing if you don't like smoke, like it takes a lot your first time smoking to like open up
Matt
the
was
Because you weren't smoking right.
Matt was blowing into the joint.
Rotterdam,
No,
you
I
were
remember
in
now.
Rotterdam.
I
You
remember
were
now.
like, I was like, are you high yet, Matt? And you're like, I don't know, I don't feel high. I'm like, I'm fucking blazed. Like, we're halfway through this huge fucking joint. How are you not high? And he's like, I took 8 hits. I took 8 hits. And I was like, you're totally fried.
I was doing it right. I was
fried.
like, it wasn't really affecting me that first. But I remember, now that you mentioned that, I remember one time I was like, okay, can you get me another one then? And you roll one for me and hand it to me, and I go to light it, and I go to light the fucking filter end of it instead of the other end.
Oh
I
my
remember
God.
that.
I understand
remember that.
No, I understand that feeling though. He rolled it like I have a similar thing where like I am fried, but I just don't really feel like I'm fried until I realize, oh, that was retarded. I'm fucking high. Like like I don't feel like consciously high sometimes when I smoke. It's normally with joints too. Like with the vapor stuff, like it gets me. Edibles, fucking, I'm gone. But with like joints, at least the first few hits the joint, it's like I don't feel like I'm high, even though I am.
Yeah.
Anyway, go on through the story.
Oh no, because like the same thing happened when I was at my friend's house. They had a vaporizer to do it. So I sit there and I'm still ripping it. And then my friend looks at me, I was like, dude, I can't feel anything. He looks at me, he's like, how are you not feeling anything? And then I raised my hand and my finger like to say something, and like instantly as soon as I like raised my hand, it all hit me at once. And I was just like, yeah, literally it's just like I'm like, oh fuck. He's like, what? I'm like, dude, it hit me. And then either way, just stupid shit that happened that night anyways. But cut to the chase, the next night I was like, fuck yeah, let's do that again. And we came back home the next night and we're like, yo, let's make margaritas first. And we're like, okay. So we go to...
That is the most Inotorious thing ever. Go on.
Yeah.
Well, we all agreed to it.
Let's make smoke some weed, guys.
Either way. Anyways.
Matt likes girly drinks.
Dude, I don't give a fuck. I'll start with like the whiskey, the manly drink first to warm up, and then I'll just fucking take whatever, you know?
Uh-huh.
But either way, we're like following the rest.
Fireball?
Oh god, I actually hate Fireball now. It's so disgusting. I can't. It gives you such bad hangovers.
Good.
But we were like following the recipe for the margaritas on the back of the bottle of the margarita mix or whatever, and they turned out really shitty. So my friend's just like, okay, here, give me it. And he just like dumps the bottle in there, and he's like eyeballing it. We taste it. We're like, oh, this is really strong. So we like dump a bunch of sugar in there, and then we're like, oh, this is really sweet. These are great. So like. They all had one each, and then I had one. I'm like, you guys want more? Like, nah, we're good. So I'm like, okay. Pour myself another big glass, drink that. And I look at the blender. I'm like, well, it's already like, a glass worth, so I drank that. I had the rest of I practically had the whole blender to myself at that point. And then they're like, "Oh, you want to smoke?" I'm like, "Okay." And I didn't know beforehand, you're not supposed to drink before you smoke, apparently, because it'll amplify the effects of the THC or whatnot.
No, it's not. It's not the reason why. For me, like the rule of thumb is smoke weed first and then drink.
Yes.
Because when you're really, really drunk, you really can't process how much you're smoking or how high you're getting until it's too late and you're puking and you're freaking out. You're like, like the whole night. Mm-hmm. So it's better off to get high and then drink until you feel yourself get crossfaded and then you stop. Yeah. But that's really the reason why. I don't think the alcohol actually boosts the THC in any way. But
that's probably what happened with Matt, though. You probably drank and then you didn't realize how high you were getting. You know?
He probably just got really fucking baked.
Probably that, because it was my second night too, and like I said, it took me a shit ton like smoking the first time to like actually like open up the receptors over to the bullshit is for it. So like I was still like it was my second night smoking, so it still doesn't take much. So I was like, okay, this will be like last night where I'm going to need a lot, and I tried doing the same amount, and then I just got completely fucked up, and it was like level 100 anxiety and everything. I was like couch locked and just like freaking. I was like curled up on a ball on the couch, just like freaking the fuck out, watching like Nat Geo and watching like this lizard run for its life from like a snake or something. And all these, there's like 100 snakes chasing the lizard. I was just freaking out. I'm like, oh my god, this is so fucking intense. And my friends are just sitting there smiling and watching it, and I'm just like curled up.
This is a metaphor for my life, man.
Like the RuneScape fireworks go off and it plays a little jingle. Level 99 anxiety.
Fucking asshole.
You know what was funny? Like when you were saying earlier how like you were ripping the pen or whatever, and your friends were like, "How are you not high?" And you're like, "I don't know, I'm not feeling it yet." And they're like, "How are you not high?" I thought you were gonna be like, and then I realized I was talking to the mirror or talking to a mop or something like that. I was like, please say that. That would be so fucking funny. Like, hey, is this all supposed to be kicking in right now? You're like literally talking to a statue or something.
Talking to a mannequin.
I don't even feel high. Like, I was supposed to be feeling it yet.
I was
feel high, bro.
I was at the point where I literally couldn't even talk. Like, even that function just shut down. My friend just walks over. He looks at me, just curled up.
I wish Mason would get to that point sometimes. Point where he can't fucking speak. We should get Mason a ball gag for whenever he gets super high.
All right. We don't need to get into your weird fucking fetishes right now, dude. Right, okay, fucking.
Then we get him like really naked. Like really naked.
Yeah, okay. You can oil them up too, make it easier to like take his clothes off and shit.
But like you oil them up, and then like you put them in like a full body latex suit with like no holes on the face,
right?
So he can't he can't see or breathe.
Of course.
And then
why would he need those
and then you
functions?
put him in the corner, and then you put like your jacket, and you put him in a pose, and then you put your like a hat on him, and then he's like a mannequin.
Yeah, and then you fuck him, right? And then you fuck him, yeah.
Hey, what the fuck?
No, that's not what we were doing.
I'm
gonna fuck his brains out.
Yeah, that's fucking gay.
Yeah.
Are you a faggot?
All right. This has been the Misfits podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed listening to this. Don't do too many edibles. Stay away from the brownie. Don't have a panic attack. And always be responsible. And if you're by chance on edibles and listening to this, wake up. We're worried about you. Please wake up.
Wake up.
Everyone's worried.
Wake up.
You're in a coma.
Wake up.
Wake up.
Just
wake
come back.
up.
Friends love
wake
you.
Up.
Wake up.
Wake up. Wake up.
Life isn't real.
Wake up.
Go be the Misfits.
Bye.
Goodbye.